All right, Aquarius. So this week from Lay Vampire, you pulled discipline, training, consistency, and practice. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled recovery. Now, for a lot of you, I feel like it's going to be after the recovery period where discipline will start to kick in. Now, the blessing says you have the ability to create a program of change and stick to it. And after a period of time, it will transform from painful to pleasurable. The freedom and strength it affords you far outweighs the pain you experience in the short term. And then working with this card says it is time to lay a plan down, to create structure, and to stick to your commitments. And you must clear away any doubt. But, again, in order for you to get to that point where you can start sticking to commitments and laying some plans down for yourself, it's going to be after a period of recovery. Now, the very first quote for this card says, pain from our past unlocks the door of understanding. The inspiration says, once the key has been used to open the door, you will have a new way of living, one without keys. Where you are heading, there are no locks. The personal question says, it is time to recover a part of myself that has been dormant. Am I ready to live an inspired future? The key ideas are facing fears, wounding is strength, courage to face pain, and awakening greatness. So for a lot of you, after a period of recovery, it will be easier for you to start laying down a plan for yourself, for what you're planning on doing, for work, for relationships. It doesn't matter with discipline. All right, Aquarius, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. Oof. Now, I've said this before. Usually when I do personal readings, if the Ten of Wands shows up, I would say that there may be a lot of things going on right now. We need to just take a minute and maybe do the reading at a different time. But, because we're talking about general readings here, we're going to continue with this. The Ten of Wands is not very good as a signifier in terms of you feeling overwhelmed. And maybe there are a lot of things that you're dealing with right now, which is why discipline is showing up. And again, with the Ten of Wands, and I said this before when I worked in management, the big thing there is delegation. But that's only if you have somebody to delegate tasks to. Now, for some of you, you may not. And that's where this overwhelming feeling is coming in. And in the past, the Seven of Cups. Now, just looking at the two, it's definitely talking about being overwhelmed with several different options. That or being overwhelmed with what options there are. Like not seeing what the clear one is. Not being able to get clarity on, what decisions you need to make here. What is the best option? And for some of you, it may be just the wishful thinking. But I don't know. I feel like with the Ten of Wands, the overwhelming feeling is coming from all the different options you may have in front of you right now. So in the present, the Six of Swords, needing to move away from conflict. And for a lot of you, this is going to be mental, especially with the Seven of Cups coming through. That on top of what you're dealing in the physical with the Ten of Wands, it's no wonder why there's this feeling of needing to move into a more calmer space for yourself. So, yeah, it feels heavy because of the Ten of Wands being there. But then at the same time, there's potential to have things cleared up a little bit here with the Six of Swords. Future conditions, very nice, very nice. Now, the overwhelming feeling may be coming from, what you're doing for yourself financially. Now, the Nine of Coins is a beautiful card, period. It is about enjoying the finer things in life, being able to enjoy the things that you've worked really hard for. But, I feel like for a lot of you, the overwhelming part is, the fact that you're responsible for your own stability and your own financial stability at that. Because this is talking about self-reliance. Like you don't need anybody else to help you, but then at the same time, you may be really overwhelmed with the things that you're working on. But I think that with the Six of Swords being above this and seeing the Seven of Cups, there will be a period of mental clarity. But I think it's going to be a little bit slow moving. But then still, I worry about the Ten of Wands being there though too. Woo. Your best path to follow. When you're talking about recovery and you see the Ten of Swords, basically it's saying that whatever painful endings you've been through, it's over with now. You have to release this. When you're looking at the Ten of Swords as the best path to follow, it's talking about the painful things that you've been through that are done with, but you may still be hanging on to. You know, it is about hitting rock bottom, but needing to push off the bottom to get to that clarity. And that's what you're trying to do right now, looking at the Six of Swords. But again, you know, that's where recovery is coming in here. Whatever painful things you've been through, it's over. Like, it is over. But for some of you, it's still very overwhelming. And again, there may not be, you know, a lot of clarity on which way to go here with the Seven of Cups coming through still. But I do feel like with the Nine of Coins, you get there. It's just going to be an uphill battle with the Ten of Wands being here. But this is done. This is done and it's over with, right? And again, you know, it goes right back to what I was saying before about after that period of recovery. You get to this place where it's easier for you to stick to the things that you're wanting to work towards. In your environment, wow, oh, that damn card, the Seven of Swords. Now, for some of you, this is simply things that you are not talking about. You may have some plans here that you may not be wanting to reveal. You may be holding everything really close to yourself. I don't feel like you're dealing with any sketchy, sneaky stuff. Now, if you are, that is definitely where the Six of Swords is coming in, where you're moving away from things. But I feel like this is stuff that you're keeping hidden because it's extremely overwhelming. And it may be not having, you know, a lot of mental clarity. Again, with the Six of Swords and Seven of Cups. You know, and the other thing too is if you're still dealing with the energy of the Ten of Swords, it may not be something that you're wanting to reveal either. You know, you may be trying to work through it, but there's not a lot of clarity on which way to go. My goodness. Oh boy, your hopes and your fears, the Lovers. You have a lot of different things going on. And again, it goes back to that Ten of Wands. There are several different things going on. You're talking about financial stability and security. You're talking about things that are being kept hidden. Conflict that you're trying to move away from. Not having any mental clarity or emotional clarity. And then dealing with things that are extremely painful that still need to be cleared up. And for a lot of you, it may have to do with a relationship too, on top of what you're having to do on the physical plane. My goodness. The Lovers. Now, the Lovers here, though, too, is about making major life decisions. And the major decision is, do you take the road of temptation or do you take the path that you know is best for you? The moral high ground. And I think for a lot of you, it's, you know, not having a lot of mental clarity on what is the best decision for myself. My goodness, Aquarius, you have a lot going on here. And then the outcome. And, you know, I like that. I do. As far as where you come out at here, no matter how much overwhelming feelings you're going through or overwhelming things you're having to deal with, the Knight of Coins coming out is basically saying that you're going to be okay, but it's going to be like a drag-ass situation. It's going to take a while. But the other thing too is if you're looking at making major decisions, whether you're talking about a relationship or what you're working toward, the Knight of Coins is talking about looking at the long term. This is not moving forward swiftly or arrogantly or without any, you know, caution. You're moving forward in a way that is going to work for you. Absolutely. But you're doing it in a way where you're looking at what the long-term results are going to be. But it's going to take a while. My goodness, Aquarius. For a lot of you, I think that with the Seven of Swords, you know, even if you are dealing with some stuff that's being kept hidden from you, I feel like you already know about it because otherwise the Six of Swords would not be there. I think what's being kept hidden is the fact that you're still dealing with this. You know, and again, it may have to go back to a relationship or just major decisions that you're making. But I also feel like for some of you, what you're keeping hidden is, you know, how this is affecting you mentally though as well. But again, the Knight of Coins and discipline, practice and consistency. Like you get there, you do. And absolutely with the 9 of coins being there. But it's just going to take some time. You know, it's almost like there's a feeling here where some of you are getting back to that point where you're more, you know, independent and self-reliant. And it will take a little bit of time, but it doesn't look bad coming out. Oh my goodness. All right, Aquarius, we're going to take a look at the soul trees to see what other messages there are for you guys. Purpose, what is your purpose? And Earth. I'm seeing this one a lot. Now, one of the things that I say with Earth is that it sounds silly, but it's time to start going outside and being close to nature so that you can get yourself a little bit more grounded. Especially with, you know, winter creeping up here, it's time to start enjoying, you know, nature while you can. I mean, absolutely, even with the snow falling, I'd be out there enjoying the hell out of it. But, you know, definitely now is the time for you to get out there, get in tune with nature, take some time to meditate, you know, be with the trees. But detachment, there is something that you need to detach yourself from, you know, but what is your purpose? You know, what is your true purpose here? And understanding what your purpose is only going to come through being able to detach from the painful things, right? I mean, it's rough, but I feel like you're going to be okay. It's just going to take a while for you to get to a point where you feel a little bit more secure and a little bit more stable. Listen with your heart. You are listening to what is being said, but you need to listen with a loving heart. So, you know, that kind of reminds me of like how my kids tell me I'm always blocking them out. Like I hear them, but am I really listening? So basically it's saying that you need to open up and really listen. And listen with a loving heart. Look to your inner strength. You are stronger than you realize. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially with the 10 of Wands being here. Aquarius, you got a lot of stuff going on. And you got a lot of rough stuff on top of this. But I think in the end, you're going to be okay. It's going to be overwhelming to get past this and get to that point of recovery and move into a spot here where discipline will start to kick in. And as long as you're willing to stick to, you know, the long haul here, there's no reason why there shouldn't be a little bit more security and independence for you. All right, Aquarius, so this week for some of you, you're going to have an uphill battle, and it's going to have to do with some painful things that still need to be cleared up here. I feel like you're trying to get away from it. You are. But, you know, not having that clarity on what your options are, it can be hard to know which way you need to go. And I do think that for some of you, it's not something you're wanting to talk about. You know, this to me is like you're being secretive about what your plans are, but you're also being quiet about not having the mental clarity or knowing exactly what the options are. And that's basically because you're still dealing with this. And for some of you, it may have to do with a relationship. Now, for some of you, you may actually be physically moving here, but the problem is it's going to be an overwhelming uphill battle to get to where you feel like you are independent and feeling a little bit better about your circumstances, being self-reliant. The problem is with the Knight of Coins coming out is it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for you to get back to this feeling of being secure. Basically, it's not bad, but, you know, for some of you, apart from having to do with a relationship, this is going to have to do with the major life decisions that you're making, though, too. And for a lot of you, it could actually be a physical move, looking at the Six of Swords. But the whole point there is to move into a situation that's going to be more calmer for you. Now, you may not have had clear options in the past, and you may still be moving forward, not really knowing what's going to happen. But, you know, for some of you, you may have gotten a little bit of clarity here, but whatever it is that you're deciding, it's like you're not telling anybody, you're not talking about. There's so many different things going on here, Aquarius. And again, it's only after a period of recovery that you can start sticking to commitments here and start laying down plans for structure in your life. And that goes back to the Nine of Coins. Now, detach purpose and earth. Detach from an idea that you had a certain purpose, though, too. But you need to detach from the painful things to understand what your purpose is. But for a lot of you, Earth, needing to go outside, needing to get a little bit more grounded and doing some meditating. Now, in terms of love, listen with your heart and look to your inner strength. Absolutely, you're stronger than you realize. And, listen. You have to listen. You have to open up and actually listen to what's being said. Especially for those of you who are in a happy relationship, but just dealing with outside difficulties here. I think you're going to be okay coming out. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for, things to kind of stable out for you. But you're not being hasty about what you're doing. Looking at the Knight of Coins, you're looking at the long term. It's just going to be a while.